Welcome to Keeping Up with Our Community, a podcast for and about Romeo Community Schools. Each week, we will invite different guests to share insights about some unique aspects of our schools. This podcast is powered by the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than MIT TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and you can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan, and you can contact them right now via email at mit.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. Hello, my name is Marianne Fresh, and I serve as the Communications and Marketing Supervisor for Romeo Community Schools. I am your host for a series on fine arts through the district. In part one, we heard from our elementary art and music teachers, and in part two, we had a discussion with our middle school art, music, drama, and band teachers. Now we have invited high school teachers from our drama, music, and art programs to join us to hear about the importance of fine arts at the high school level. Let me begin by introducing our guests. With us are Kendra Knobloch, Director of the Romeo Theater Company, Jeff Hinkle, Choir Director, John Phillips, Band Director, and Lisa Joseph, Chair of the Visual Arts Department. Can you each take a few moments to tell our listeners a little about your backgrounds and how you came to be teaching here at Romeo? We'll begin with our performing arts faculty and give Mrs. Joseph an opportunity a little later when we shift to a discussion about visual arts. Kendra, let's begin with you.
Well, hi, thank you for having us. A little background about myself.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's kind of fun. I'm in my final months with Romeo Theater Company, which is very exciting. We have an amazing program. We've been in existence for 35 years now. Our extracurricular program is the largest extracurricular program in the school. We have close to 200 kids involved, be it on stage, backstage. The students run it all, which is really exciting. I think it's the best thing about us. We're not a parent-run organization. We're a student-run organization, and we go on to win quite a few awards by doing so. Most of us are familiar with the signboards on the street corners, and that's what you know us as. But I think what I'm most proud of is our classes themselves. We have several different levels. We have a basic drama class, which is just a half a year. We have a full year Theater 1 program. We have a full year Theater 2 program. We have a technical theater program for kids who may never have even seen a show, but they want to build it. So the behind the scenes are just as important as those. So it's a program that's built on communication skills. And my job, my first thought is, oh yeah, I'd love to send everybody to Broadway. That'd be fantastic. I want to go to the Tony Awards. But I think what my job mainly is to give these kids skills that every workforce is asking about. We've gone to several different work-related sites with all of the academies happening in the school. And the first thing they ask for is, we want creative. We want people that think out of the box. We want people that can work as a team. We want people that can be hands-on. We want people that are adaptable. Well, that's everything the four of us actually, are doing. These kids have to work together. They work as a team. They are creating with a little budget as possible and making things look absolutely amazing. So I think the arts are often looked at as, oh, well, they just do nice things that look pretty. But these are skills the kids are going to go out and use in whatever field they're going into. So it's something that I think students should take, whether they want to be a Broadway star or if they want to be a teacher, if they want to be a lawyer, all of the skills learned in the arts is something that they can use.
Great. Well, thank you. Jeff, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been working hand in hand with Kendra for a million years now, and we do the musicals together. I do the choir program on my own, obviously, and kind of the same thing. I mean, our kids are just learning invaluable skills that they can use in whatever they go into. You know, I have kids that I keep in touch with. They're still kids, even though some of them are, 40. But they keep in contact with me and tell me about what they're doing. And sometimes they're doing things within the performing arts still, and sometimes they're not. But they still have those life skills that they've developed through our programs sometimes, and at least enhanced with our programs, right? And they're doing really fun things. I just got an email a few weeks ago, from a former student who was in our programs that did not go into the performing arts at all, but he is actually running his own company. And as part of his own company, he brought in some Broadway people to perform at his just a function that they did. And he got up and sang with these people as part of his thing. And it was just really, really neat to see that he's still having fun with it. He still really, really has that passion. And that passion is probably what has made him like the CEO of this company, I'm guessing, because it's just, he, has that drive and the people skills and collaborative skills that he learned through our programs.
All right, John.
So this is my 20th year teaching. I'm actually a product of Romeo Schools. So I graduated back in 1999. I knew a few people at the table at the time here. I always have to throw that one in there. But I taught for 10 years in Fitzgerald Public Schools, and I came on board here at Romeo about 10 years ago when the band program needed to be rebuilt. And it's been a really great joining the team, working with the two people right here. I have great colleagues, throughout the district. I know I had my wife on a different version of this.
Yeah, earlier segment. You heard from her.
Yep, she's working at Washington Elementary, so it's kind of, you have the built-in staff meetings there at home, but I have kids in the district, so it's been really, really great to be on board. I know we're going to talk more about some of those things that Jeff and Kendra mentioned with all the exciting things our kids have been up to. So.
Yeah.
But
and your son is playing in the band. I heard.
He is.
You didn't know if it was optional or
no,
mandatory.
He just kind of saw. I mean, he's grown up with it. He's known it his whole life.
Yeah.
So I got my daughter's in second grade, and she's kind of raring to go too. So
that's awesome. Okay, well, I'd be remiss not to mention or begin with the news that Romeo Community Schools was recently named a 2024 Best Community for Music Education, and I understand this is the second consecutive year the school district has received this national designation, and that Romeo is one of only 21 school districts in the state to receive this award. So, John, you submitted the application. You want to tell us a little bit about what this means?
Yeah, so this is done through the NAM Foundation, which is the National Association for Music Merchants. This is their foundation wing that goes out and about, and they really believe in music in the schools, music education overall. So one of the things they do is go throughout the country, and you can apply as a district to get that designation as a best community for music education. Like you said, there's 21 schools this year, school districts. You can also apply as a single school, but we have so many great things going K-12 and that we wanted to see that designation. So it's the second year in a row we've had that. And they look at everything. It really is a community award. So they start with the schools, and we talk about accomplishments of students, what classes are offered, enrollment, and then it continues on through, administration, financial obligations, and then it goes all the way out to the community. So, what does the community have to offer? It's a chance for us to talk about some of I was able to even talk about, Romeo Gold and some of the other businesses in the area that, All the World's a Stage, different things that go out, not that expand just beyond what we do in the schools, but it's a recognition overall of the teaching and the support for the schools and throughout the community. So it's been a very cool designation to have for that second year in a row.
Romeo Gold is another example of our students
Yep.
doing business stuff, but it ties into performing arts, obviously.
Absolutely. It's a great example.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That's a great
Thank you.
honor. So, well, in earlier segments with the elementary and middle school art and music teachers, we talked about the importance of art in providing students with a creative outlet, and you've all touched on that in your introductions. But just, if there's anything else you want to share about how the arts are particularly beneficial at the high school level, preparing them for the next step, or.
I can jump in there because I know I didn't do too much of the introduction there, but I know all of us get a chance to see our kids in their true element, and it's you see students that would never open their mouth in another classroom. They might not see success in that other classroom, and we get a chance to see them thrive. And we share a lot of kids. It's really fun for me, I know, to see a student that just nailed it at state solo ensemble, and now they're on the stage in the play, or they're building something. And I think kids finding that niche for themselves, I know personally of students that did not learn that they loved construction from the construction pathway. They learned it from the theater and the backstage. And I know one other thing I just want to throw out there is that I know from a lot of conversations, it's usually students you wouldn't expect it. Some of the letters we've all received, after the fact, of students that this is their whole reason they come to school. Like, they would not even want to get out of bed and come to school in the morning if it wasn't to have that creative outlet, because they're not seeing it as often in those other areas unless they see it. And I know you're going to talk to Art later. For some students, that's their thing, and that's where they thrive and where they feel like they're themselves.
Yeah, in a time where attendance is kind of at a low, or that's been a struggle, that's key. That's crucial.
And I think, we're getting better at calling them better names. It sounds silly, but we used to always use the words like electives or exploratories, or I always said, well, why not just call them optional? But if we really put an emphasis on the value of all these programs, I think it helps the kids understand, and then they in turn do value it, and it becomes a crucial part of their day and their education.
Yeah, it's exciting to talk about not only those students that have gone on and made it as a performer. We have several students out there that are newscasters that you have seen.
Right.
One just took lead anchor in Lansing. Alex Bahu is a local that you can see. Those are all theater kids. And I love that Alex talked about in a newscast that she said, I just joined it because it looked fun. And then I went on a field trip and said, this is my world. And it can become a world. Or the behind the scenes. Right now, we just hired a costumer to help us out with Shrek. And she was on tour with Marvel Comics. And she's like, I'm coming back to my home, people. I've got time for at least a month. I'm helping you. And she came in, got Oakland University involved. And our students are now in contact with Oakland University, with Fisher Theater. And she's getting us tours to places that we would never get into. So there's so many opportunities. I always say, with watching a movie, look at how many actors are there, and then sit and watch how many tech crew are there. And the tech crew list just keeps going on and on and on. So when people think the arts, they think, oh, you have to be a performer. Mm-hmm. But that's not true. There's so many other aspects.
Yeah, we did a recording at Third Man Records in Nashville as part of our trip last year. And that's always one of their big things, is that if you want a career in the arts, just understand most of them aren't going to be behind the microphone. But there are so many jobs. I mean, we're sitting in a studio right now. But people don't realize that. They think you have to be the singer or you have to be the guitar player, whatever it is. They're not seeing the people running the lights, running the cameras, all that other stuff behind the stage. And we have some of that, but it kind of scratches the surface of media production versus everything that goes into a major event.
And we certainly have students on both sides of that. We've got the performers, then we also do have people that are running lights and sound and stage and theaters and stuff all across the country, really. And it's fun to watch both sides of that. And yeah, I was going to say, and then there's also just the ones that it just changed their world and their life, and they're not necessarily doing anything in the arts as their career, but it certainly made a huge impact on their world and impacted everything that they're doing.
I guess one other thing to throw out there is I thought it was really kind of funny watching when Jason Kelce retired from the NFL after the whole Super Bowl situation was over. One of the people after he thanked his coaches was his high school band director.
Yeah.
So he just said that's where he said he needed to kind of get knocked down a peg and needed to kind of learn a little bit, and that for him that still stuck with him, even though he was a professional football player. It was those lessons he learned completely off in a different area where he had to work a certain level and had to be able to meet certain standards. He did a whole thing, and that was kind of a cool thing to see. It was so unexpected.
Yeah.
You waiting for your acknowledgement after a big game?
Yeah, we'll take it.
I like how many of the kids we see that are either labeled on the spectrum or special needs, or we can find a job for anyone. And make them feel like they are king and queen for the day, because they are. We need all of those different parts. And not everybody has the ability to memorize Shakespeare. But we don't need everybody to memorize Shakespeare. We need some people to be able to organize the tools, and we need some people to be able to paint, and we need some people to be able to just sew on buttons. I had one girl that she said, I sew buttons. And I'm like, then these are the costumes you're working on. And bless her heart, that's what she did for 2 weeks. And she came and saw the show, and I got to hear her grandma tell me, thank you for letting her sew buttons. I taught her how to do that. And here's a kiddo that wasn't coming to school. And I told her, you got to go to school. And all of a sudden she started performing better in her English class. And so we just started connecting it. It's like, when did buttons start? Oh, so now I got her looking at history. Okay, did you read this story? And it talks about these seamstresses. All of a sudden there's so many connections with the arts. It's like, I think that's why our kids are more empathetic, because they have to listen to the piece before they sing it, before they play it. You hear it on The Voice and on all
And
of
for
the
the Broadway songs, what's that song about? What's the character doing? What's the whole story behind that song?
Exactly. So they're analyzing, not just playing, not just performing. They're putting the left and right brain together, because otherwise you always wonder why with a comedian, why does the joke fall flat? Well, it's the same thing with a song. Did you feel it? Well, if you didn't, they probably didn't do the research, and kids don't realize that right off the bat. So it's really fun to see new students reach that point and all of a sudden have that aha moment.
Yeah.
That's why I like it's fun going to the concerts and seeing the first time they're on show, because you get to walk up and congratulate them after, and it's something they get to present, and you don't always get to do that in every program.
Well, speaking of putting together a production and all the everything involved in that, upcoming is Shrek, the musical.
So excited.
Yeah, so tell us, let's hear a little bit about what the audience can expect, because by the time people are listening to this, it's going to be opening.
It's going to be
weekend.
opening.
Yeah,
and
so.
If you are listening to this, get your tickets online, buy them early. Don't buy them at the door. They may still be available at the door, but
Where do they go to online?
It's ludus.com, and it's on your website.
Yes, it's on the district website.
In case I said it incorrectly.
Last year's show was a little more obscure, and we did sell out several shows. So this show, being a more popular show, will most likely follow suit.
And this is my last production with Romeo Theater Company. So I'm going to go big or go home. And
she's not going home.
So we're pulling out all the punches on this one. And it's one of the few shows that I have ever auditioned for that I wasn't sure if I had all the right pieces. Because you can always say, okay, we always have 1,000 girls. But do we always have the guys to do it? And this one, there's a lot of guys in this show. And we had them come out of the woodwork for this. And you are going to be amused and amazed all at the same time. Their voices are unbelievable. The characters, we're still laughing at the lines, and we know what's coming next. All the choreography is ours as usual, the lighting, the sound, the special effects. And we actually have the Sutton Foster Standing Ovation Award coming out once again to adjudicate us, which is very exciting.
I'll look forward to hearing the results of that.
Yeah, they came out last year, and 2 of our students were chosen to perform at the Fisher Theater, and Mac was actually placed in top 10 in the state for performers. So we're excited to have them come out again.
And she's now at NYU.
She is.
Doing it.
So we had a lot of performers in that group, and this year it has just been an amazing eclectic group of kids. It's like we have every clique in the school all in one spot, and we're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to problem solve this? A week ago, we took apart the tower and completely rebuilt it in 2 days, and they came back the next day and we're like, all right, we fixed it. Let's move on. So it's spectacle. It is beautiful. The costumes are gorgeous. We move the band in the front. You get to see the band. Yay.
You just touched on all the eclecticness of the show. It's kind of neat because it's actually the show. The storyline is about all the different people and how they all make it work, and how be yourself. You don't need to change to, so it has some good messages to it too, of course.
I did create a fun video that I know I'm going to get together before we're going to play it in the lobby. It's that 1 Second Every Day app. So you can literally see the whole process of building the show. Because when we did Seussical 100 years ago, we played it in the lobby, and I had a parent say, you guys actually build this stuff? And I'm like, it doesn't come in a kit. We make. So I took little second videos all throughout rehearsal for the last few months.
What a great idea to do that, to think I had to do that. And yeah.
So it'll be fun to visually put together. I think a lot of it is more for us. We have more fun seeing it because we know all the behind the scenes annex happening. But it's going to look different because the band is out in front instead of behind the curtain.
The last couple of years, we were just trying to problem solve with how to do the band. So we put them behind the curtain. And I think some people didn't even realize the band was live because they are so good that they thought that it was like a recording, but they were live. And now we've moved them to in front of the stage. A lot of schools do that. And so we're going to try it as well. And I think it's going to work. Mr. Phillips and I were just working today on trying to figure out the choreography of getting them out there.
All right. Well, just so that everyone knows, performance dates are April 18, 19, and 20 at 7 p.m. and April 21 at 2 p.m. The matinee is the Saturday, and is that Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening performances?
Yes, and no one is double cast, so it's the same cast every show.
Okay, great. Good to know. So now let's hear about some band accomplishment or general accomplishments throughout the year. John, I understand a large group of students represented Romeo High School well at the Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association State Solo and Ensemble event in mid-March, with all of these students having earned the highest possible rating during the district competition in January, and then choosing to take their performances to the next level. I'm doing the bragging for you. So can you tell me the benefit for these musicians in participating in this type of competition?
Yeah, sure. The events come in like two forms. So we have what's our band festival, which is our full ensemble. That's where we take each group. They prepare at least 3 pieces. They do what's called sight reading, where they get rated on music they've never seen before. And so that takes place in March. That's our district level, and our kids did a fantastic job. All 3 groups earned the highest possible scores that you could. Our top group had multiple A+ on the page. I mean, just real super proud of them. While they're playing, because of our school size, they actually play music which is about equal to maybe second, third year college level ensembles. So we're a AA high school, which is the highest level that they do have. So we get to play in the same classifications with schools that are almost twice our size. But the kids do an awesome job with it. And then you referenced the solo ensemble. So we had over 100 students participated at Rochester High School. I think we were in about 60 different events. And then we had a whole bunch of those that qualified by earning a top rating. And they went on March 16th out to Port Huron Northern. And again, just did a fantastic job. I think we had 15 or 16 groups, and of them, I think 15 earned the highest possible score. And our woodwind ensemble actually was named as one of the outstanding ensembles in the state of Michigan. So the judges handpicked about 50 or 60 groups to put to the top. So we were one of them. As far as what do we get from that? What's the importance of it? It really, when I explain it to the kids, it is a snapshot of one day. So you can't get. I know Jeff took choir as well this year, getting into that. It's a snapshot of one day. So, everybody knows you can have a bad day, that things can go. So we try to talk to the kids about that you have to take it for what it is. But the idea is you get the best possible performance. Just like I'm sure Kendra would agree, when you have Sutton's Foster come out, you're going to get the best, because there's that added layer of just knowing there's that expertise out in the audience. Because for a solo ensemble, each student or group plays for an expert on that instrument, so you have to be a certain level of professional to even listen. And then with the full ensembles, they actually have 4 different adjudicators or judges that listen to them. So the kids know going in, they're going to have the music in front of them. They're going to be able to tell, which we always talk about and kind of joke about that, it's awesome to play for our friends and family. We talk a little bit about the fact that sometimes our families are supportive, even when things maybe don't go as well as, we'd hoped. And, oh, wonderful job, that it kind of gives us that more objective step back. Are we really hitting those marks that we want to? So, the acknowledgement's nice. The awards are nice. But most of the time, it's those kids coming away just feeling really great intrinsically about what they've done and what they've accomplished.
I always like when they go to job interviews later on in life and they say, that was nothing compared to solo ensemble. That was nothing compared to Theater Fest. And once again, you're setting these kids up in an adult situation and they have to perform immediately. There's not 16 takes. There's not, my mom said this was the best I've done. It's just the judges out there, and it's scary and it's impressive when these kids go into competition. And it's one of those, I even wonder if I would have done that when I was 17 years old.
Because this is all voluntary, right? They're just
sure.
taking their time to do this.
Solo ensembles, yeah. We do the full one as a group, but that's all voluntary.
So anything I'm missing in terms of not just recently, but over the course of the year? You mentioned
the State Theater Fest, the theater company we go to, it's the Michigan Educational Theater Association, and I've been attending. I was on the board when it first started 100 years ago, and it's now grown into, we're actually in the World Book of Records for most scholarship money given out in one night.
What? Yeah,
last year we hit our biggest with, we had, Romeo itself was honored with over $2.5 million. Yep, $2.5 million in scholarships from 6 kids. They were offered full rides to schools. It was amazing. Now, it's one of those, they can't use every one of those scholarships. That would be nice. Yeah. But wow, what an opportunity. I've had several kids end up at universities that they've never heard of, hardly paying a dime because of a 5-minute audition. And let me tell you, parents love that.
Yes,
But it's an
absolutely.
entire weekend away, and they're either watching competing or watching performances, competing in performances, or in theater workshops. And this year there were over 80 workshops that they could attend in 3 days
Wow.
to choose from. So it's an exciting weekend, and I'm going to probably work at it next year rather because I can't see not going. It's one of my favorite
You've been doing it
events
100 years.
I know. It's the kids look forward to that weekend every year. It's like a big giant theater camp.
Wow. Anything you would like to add, Jeff? And
Well, kind of the same thing. I mean, my kids went to choir festival this year, and my kids often go to the theater. Kendra and I
Yeah, we
tag
share
team
kids,
with
yeah.
the kids going to the theater festival, and so I mean, it's all the same
okay.
knowledge really there, but it's fun to watch them compete, and they get really, really nervous and scared, and then afterwards they were like, oh, now they get it, and so the next year they go back and hopefully up their game because they know what to expect, and it's really, really neat to watch that whole process unfold.
So besides Shrek coming up, is there anything, I know spring's a busy time, anything else that our community, I know that should put on their calendars for not to miss performances?
Well, I know I can start. We're doing a collage concert with all of our 6 through 12 students. That's going to be on April 29th at the high school. We also have our spring concerts. So I'm sure Scott mentioned the middle school on May 7th and then the high school again on May 15th. So we keep ourselves busy between that and graduation and everything else in between. But that's what we have coming up.
And Scott did mention the collage concerts, and he talked a little bit for people who didn't hear that. Can you tell us a little bit more what that is?
Yeah, we just kind of so with a collage concert, the idea is you don't do announcements, you don't do like long scene changes. In a perfect setting, you could even use lighting, and it just kind of people pop up here, there, and everywhere. But it's a chance to hear a lot of different groups. Some of those solo ensemble events, chamber, which are like larger groups but not quite a full band. Our jazz groups, anybody from 6th through 12th grade, and we're just going to kind of fire off music left and right. We'll have a marching band and drumline perform, kind of a celebration of all the groups, but just kind of a little taste of each one.
And what is the date again?
April 29th, that's going to be in the high school gym.
Okay. And this is the first time it's been, is this new or?
We
something
did it
that's
for
in-
years, and we kind of lost it during COVID because the number of people at that was far over what what we were allowed to have indoors. So kind of I think 2019 was our last one. It had been a yearly thing, and then so we've been kind of working to bring it back. And then we decided this was the year where last year we couldn't quite get it to fit in the calendar, so we're going to go back to it this year.
Great. Thank you.
And then there's the choir spring concert is May 21st at the high school auditorium.
All right.
And I'm wrapping it up with Shrek.
Yes, that's enough.
This is the third show, so
Yeah, no. For this year, that's
for
right.
this year,
Third year,
we
that
did
was-
3 productions.
Yeah, that's a lot. All right, so before we move on to visual arts, is there anything I missed? Anything else you'd like to share or some closing messages for our listeners?
I'll just kind of piggyback what Kendra started out with is that as we're kind of finding our way, the school with the big focus on academies and CTE is that, music and the arts is a form of communication, and it's such a part of just being human. I mean, when you trace it back, and it's those lessons that I always tell my kids that this isn't a band thing. This is a life thing. And there's so few opportunities currently to get 50 people in a room or 100 people in a room or more, have a common goal, have to work with people, have to learn how to work with, the number of students that don't realize you're not going to like everybody you work with. You'd love to, right? But you're going to butt heads with people. You're going to run into people that, maybe don't see eye to eye with you, but being able to overcome that and have like I said, a common goal, not 5 people, not just trying to win a match, but really get all those 200 people in that theater to, hit in sync and do that. And the ways that reverberates out to other jobs and into the communities and into those career fields is pretty huge. So, I mean, I just would love to see us continue to build that as the school, continues to focus on some of the other programming.
I think it's a quote attributed to Winston Churchill, but it was during World War II. Somebody said something about all the things that were going on, and they were trying to really streamline their focus and their energies on everything. And somebody asked about cutting any kind of arts funding or whatever, like to help fund the war effort. And he said, it's attributed to him. I don't know if he really said it, but he said, if we cut that, then what are we fighting for?
Nice.
I like that.
I know.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here, and really appreciate your time. And now we will hear from Lisa Joseph about the visual arts offerings at Romeo High School. So thank you for joining us, Lisa. Do you want to begin by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I have been teaching for 22 or 23 years. I honestly don't remember at this point. And I've been with Romeo School somewhere around 12. But love it here. I have 2 children who also go to school in Romeo, so it's nice to work and live in the community. You know, as everyone knows, Romeo's all about community, so it's great to both work and live here. So
Great. So we heard from our elementary and middle school art teachers about what to expect at the Student Art Show at Starkweather Art Center. By this time people are listening to this, it's going to have been open for a while. So can you give us a preview of high school art to entice our listeners to attend?
well, we actually just hung the show this morning, so it was a lot of artwork. We had probably 10 kids volunteer to help us hang the show. So it's at Starkweather Art Center. We have roughly 25 to 30 artworks per teacher. So a lot of students are represented. But it's just a wide variety of sculpture, pottery, printmaking, drawing, photography, just all kinds of mediums. And it's always just really impressive to see all of the work together. Starkweather is just such a beautiful space to house this show. So the elementary and middle school artwork is upstairs and the high school artwork is downstairs.
All right. So by the time people are listening, it'll be the one more weekend left. So it's Thursday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, great. So there's such an array of classes available at the high school level, from introductory drawing to advanced placement and independent study art classes. So can you just kind of give an overview for parents, maybe they have middle school, like what's available?
There's so many classes available for our art students. Well, at the ninth grade academy, there's basically like a foundations course of 2D art and 3D art that they can take. So it just gives them a little spattering of everything in the ninth grade. But not all kids take art in ninth grade, so that's fine. So when they come to the high school, we don't have a foundations course at the high school, but it's introductory pottery or sculpture, introductory drawing and painting, where they can just learn basic drawing skills using color or not color, painting for realism or painting for design. And then I teach pottery and sculpture. So those are the intro courses. And after students take the intro courses, they have an option to take advanced level courses. So we have advanced levels for all of the classes. You could take advanced level painting, advanced level drawing, or advanced level pottery and sculpture. And then even for those kids that want more, we do offer AP art and design where they can earn college credit if they choose to put together a portfolio. So it's a fairly challenging load of work for AP. It's supposed to be college intro level, but honestly it's way more than college intro level. They learn a lot. And then we also have independent study for students who might want to continue in art, but they don't want to do like that hardcore art challenge. They just want to make what they want to make. So we offer that for kids in their senior year.
And there was a good showing for the Scholastic Art.
Yeah, we did well at Scholastics this year. We had how many? We had 5 gold keys, 3 silver keys, and 2 honorable mentions. And those 5 gold keys go on to be judged for nationals. So normally nationals is judged in March, but they had a little glitch in their system, so it's going to take a little longer. So the national gold or the gold keys we'll find out in June if they go on to the national level, which is always like a really huge honor because they have a show in New York City and the award ceremony is at Carnegie Hall.
Have you had students in the past?
Yeah, we have had students in the past make it to nationals. It's pretty exciting.
And you get to go as a teacher accompanies them?
Yeah, well, so the last one we had was during COVID, and so they did it all virtual. But yes, teachers and students get to go.
Wow. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah.
So can you share your own personal philosophy about the importance of fine arts in a student's overall education?
Yeah, we sort of heard from the music and drama teachers that I believe what they believe, that I think it's vital. And especially, like, I tend to just see it from the visual standpoint, but where the world is getting so interested in AI, and AI can generate so many things, that we need human brains that can think abstractly. And they need opportunities to learn that at a young age. So that's where the art classrooms come in. There's no right or wrong answers. They have to be able to decipher things on their own, or what are the best decisions. There's multiple avenues you could take to get somewhere, but what would be the best one? Like I said, in a world where AI just might plug something out, we actually need thinkers. So that's where the art curriculum can come into play to create problem solvers.
And are there any highlights from the year you'd like to share, or favorite personal moments, things you were like, as a art department chair, or just generally specifically?
Yeah, we actually hired another art teacher this year. We've grown our art program a lot over the 12 years that I've been here. We started out with a teacher and a half, and we've grown to 4. So that's exciting to see our program build. But the 9th grade teacher won a big grant from the Kiwanis to add to the program. So there's just a lot of exciting things happening. Tying things in with the curriculum. We had a student 2 years ago. She graduated, and GM took her in right away, and she's now sculpting cars. They hired her, so they hired her to learn not digital sculpting, but actual clay modeling. So we've had students go into clay modeling. We've had students in graphic design, making a living in art. So it's exciting to see that happen.
Yeah, with the academies and then all the career, pathways, it's nice to know that the arts can certainly.
Yeah, I think parents are afraid. Like, I don't expect any of my students to go on and, be potters. You're not going to make anybody being a potter. Or a drawer, but there are lots of careers that involve the arts that pay well.
Yeah, it's great skills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else other than the Starkweather Arts Center show on the horizon?
We're starting to wind some things down. I know I am working on a project with the botany classes, where they are growing plants, and my students made planters, and so they grew the plants. They're going to learn about germinating and transplanting and all that stuff, and so they'll be put in my planters that my students made, and the hope is to then sell them as a fundraiser. And next year we hope to tie in business and sell at the band craft show, just so that they can see the business side of art.
Right. Anything I didn't ask that I should have asked? You want to add? You want to add? All right. Well, thank you for being here and representing your department with us today.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Thanks. I wanted to thank all of our high school teachers for providing their perspective on the importance of the arts at Romeo High School, and to all of the teachers at all levels who participated in this series. If you haven't had a chance, please go back and listen to episode 13, featuring elementary art and music, and episode 14, which focuses on middle school art, music, and drama. And don't forget to get your tickets for the upcoming production of Shrek the Musical. Performances are April 18, 19, and 20 at 7 p.m. and April 21 at 2 p.m. Tickets are available online at romeotheatercompany.ludus.com. That's LUDUS.com. And up next is our next mental health roundtable, so be sure and tune in. Thank you for joining us, and tune in next week to keep up with Romeo Community Schools. This podcast is powered by the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than MIT TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and you can even edit your podcasts. That's all right here at the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan, and you can contact them right now via email at mit.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.